All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to have you guys join us tonight. My name is Rebecca. I'm an event planner with the Orange County Library System. Welcome to tonight's virtual event, Ask a Lawyer, presented by the Orange County Bar Association. This project was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. In tonight's event, you'll have the opportunity to speak with a panel of attorneys to get insight and guidance on family law. Before we begin, I would like to share a couple things about Zoom. Please keep in mind that everyone's videos besides our speakers will be turned off. You will be muted unless you are asking a question, then you may unmute yourself. If you have a question and would like to speak, this is really important. Please use the raise your hand feature if you click on the reactions located at the bottom of your screen. If you do not choose to use the raise your hand feature, you can also type your name in the chat. And what I'll be doing, and I'll be listing in the chat by name and number. So in order from whoever's first, I'll start with the number and then put your name, and I'll put whose turn it is next. So please respect everyone and wait to be called on. And we want to avoid anybody speaking out unless it's your turn. So just remember, if you have a question, please let us know in the chat or using the raise your hand feature, and I'll put your name in the chat in order by number. Without further ado, I would like to begin by introducing Russell Frank, our moderator for tonight's event. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can see me. My name is Russell Frank. I'm a family law attorney with CPLS-PA, as well as an Orange County Bar Association member. I'd like to thank you all for attending our Ask a Lawyer event, sponsored by the Orange County Bar Association and the Orange County Clerk of Courts. Before we get started, allow me to give you a little background about the Orange County Bar. The association has been around for 85 years, and during that time, we've grown to a membership of more than 3,400 attorneys, judges, and other legal professionals. In addition to servicing the needs of our members, one of our goals has been to reach out into the community and provide services and programs that will benefit Central Floridians. Some of our programs include our members' pro bono work with the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association, our Law Referral and Information Service, our Law Week program for the school children of Orange County, and our free citizen dispute and family law mediation program. The citizen dispute and family law mediations are facilitated by an impartial professional mediator who listens to both parties and encourages a resolution that is satisfactory to both parties. By reaching a settlement, both parties can avoid court costs and the uncertainty of a trial outcome. This is a free program for anyone residing in Orange County. Tonight's Ask a Lawyer event is just one of the programs, and we hope you feel free to ask any questions you have about family law. Orange County Bar attorneys Lauren Briska from Briska Law, Cami Schwam-Wilcox from Schwam-Wilcox and Associates, and Damon Weiss from Weiss, Grunner, Barclay, and Barnett will help guide us through some of the tough issues that you want to know about tonight. Tonight's event will be recorded and shared on the Orange County Bar Facebook Association Facebook page, so please be sure to like the page when you're on Facebook. I'd like to now introduce Jose Vallon from the Orange County Clerk's Self-Help Center. Jose serves as the Assistant Operations Manager for Domestic Front Counter Customer Service in the Self-Help Center. He oversees services offered to self-represented litigants in the Self-Help Center interested in family, landlord-tenant law, and small claims cases, to include attorney consultations offered in collaboration with the Orange County Bar. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Jose.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry. Everybody can hear me? So I'm the assistant manager, operation manager for the Self-Help Center. And what is the Self-Help Center? The Self-Help Center was opened roughly 5 years ago. And it's a program that the Orange County Clerk offered for people trying to represent themselves. And we help people trying to represent in family law, not restraining orders, but family law, divorces, paternity, child support, We child custody. We also help with small claims and residential evictions. We sell packets. We have computer for research. We partner with OCBA with attorney consultations. People can make appointments with an attorney for $1 a minute. We offer notary services. We offer and help people filing new cases through the system. And we are open from 7:30 to 4, and we're located in the 3rd floor, room 340 of the Orange County Courthouse. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
With COVID going on right now, how does somebody who's not an attorney, do y'all help set a case up to go back into family court?
So yeah, the office are open, and you still can come to our office and file your case. And if you need to make an appointment with the attorney, we do the attorney consultation via Zoom.
Can he help me file a case to get one started?
She don't help you file the case. She will answer any legal questions that you have. For example, if you have a question about custody, what kind of paperwork you need to file to get custody, the attorney can guide you and answer your legal questions.
Okay, and what room is that again, sir?
We're in room 340.
Okay, in your hours of operation?
It is 7:30 to 4. And if you need to make an appointment with the attorney, you can go to our website, to myorangeclerk.com, and make an appointment there to speak to the attorney.
Do you do walk-ins?
We do walk-ins, but we do walk-ins, and we can help you if you have any question as far of processes of by form. But if you need to speak to the attorney, you need to make an appointment. And the appointments are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay, thank you.
And it's going to be via Zoom, so you don't have to come into the building.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I also have a question for you, Mr. Jose.
Yes.
I already did, I do have an open case right now. It's pending. Now, the responsor just hired a lawyer.
Yes.
My question and my concern now is, since I'm self-represented myself,
yes,
should I go ahead and get a lawyer for myself? Because I'm very confused right now. I come from New York.
Yes.
I saw you when I was doing my whole paper. I don't know if you remember me.
Okay.
I come from New York, and I do already have an agreement with the father, and we are getting the divorce and process and everything here. So I have his lawyer calling me now, and now I'm like to the point that I don't know exactly how it works here. So should I go ahead and schedule an appointment with the lawyers that you got at your office, or should I hire one?
That's a good question, Ms. Rosa. And what you can, I mean, it's a personal, it's going to be a personal, you're going to have to ask yourself. I can't tell you either way, but you can make an appointment with the attorney with us and ask him those legal questions that you have. If you feel that you're going to need somebody to represent you actually in court, then you're probably going to have to either ask one of the attorneys here in the panel, or if you want to go first and make that appointment with us and talk to the attorney for 30 minutes will be $30, and ask them those questions, and then you can go from there.
Okay, because okay, I already talked to a legal aid representative, and she was like, oh, I don't think you should do. I mean, it's up to you, depending on how you see the case.
Yes.
But My only concern here is, because right now we have 2 daughters in common, and he's holding me one, my oldest, and I have the youngest. So I've been trying like to keep it peaceful, but he's on the point that it's like, it is what it is. You just got to take me to court and prove me wrong, since we don't have a Florida court statement. We do have one from New York, but not one here in Florida.
Yeah, you probably need to speak with one of the attorneys or yeah, get some representation.
Okay.
Hello, sorry, I just want to jump back in. We haven't started the actual questions yet. Please keep in mind, I have an order in the chat, and so please don't unmute yourself unless we have called on you. We can answer some more self-help questions at the end of the session, but we are going to get into the questions for the panel at this time.
Okay.
And I do see we had a first question there. I think, is there Ida Arendando?
Yes, this is Ida.
Okay, Ida, welcome. Would you like to state your question for the panel?
Yes, it's a rather complicated question. I'm asking for a friend, her language barrier. She had a final judgment of dissolution of marriage in May of 2020. The baby's father does not pay child support. They have a custody and visiting arrangement. However, she has been offered a position in Sweden, and she has now a child with a Swedish national, and she would like to move to Sweden for a better life and opportunity, but doesn't know how she can go about doing that with the father's child, the first father's child, living in Gainesville.
Okay, I'm just going to go in the order that I have them on my screen. So Lauren, do you want to address that first?
Sure. So you're going to want to mention to your friend that what she needs to do and what she needs to look into is filing a petition for relocation. She doesn't actually have to file the petition for relocation unless she cannot come to an agreement with the father. So if there is a final judgment and that father has time sharing and there's child support that's supposed to be paid and all those things are in that final judgment, then she needs to either agree with the father that she can relocate, and she needs to get him to sign paperwork that an attorney drafts and get that paperwork filed with the court before she leaves for Sweden. The other thing it's important to mention to her is that the fact that the father does not pay child support, that's a favorable thing for her that she can mention in her petition for relocation as well, because the courts do look at that when they are determining one of the many factors for relocation. So the terminology that you need to relay to her would be a petition for relocation or an agreement, a written agreement for relocation. And you have to be very careful how that agreement is drafted, and you don't want to do it by yourself. You want an attorney to draft it so that it complies with a full agreement and what that relocation would look like.
Yeah, it won't be an amicable agreement. It will have to be a petition for relocation through a counseling, counsel. It's really a tough, it's very a whole year of injunction for 2019 led to the divorce. $147 a month in child support has not been paid since about a year and a half. And a person can't live with $147 in child support for a family of 3. So I think she can reach out and maybe do a referral for an attorney to the Orange County Bar.
Absolutely.
Go from there.
Absolutely.
I don't mean to
Thank
chime
you.
in, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Damon.
I think even Lauren and I would both agree that it sounds to me like your friend has some very favorable factors that benefit her, in the sense that if the father is not it doesn't sound like the father is very involved in the child's life if he lives in Gainesville and she lives here.
Yeah, I mean, it's every other weekend, but he is there all the time. Like he religiously wants to see the child. So, but doesn't provide, any support. So it's a tough situation, and both were represented by counsel at the divorce. Even the passport, he won't even sign a passport application at this point, even though on the dissolution, it says that he can travel to Mexico to see the family because she has no family here. Now that the passport expired, he won't sign the passport application. So she has to probably do a petition for that. So he's very uncooperative.
Well, that would just be a motion, so that's not as complicated. But one of the things I wanted to add was a lot of times people have favorable factors, like Damon and Lauren had said, but they don't file the petition properly. So she needs to make sure that she has a proposed long distance parenting plan attached to her petition. Otherwise, just on a technicality, it's going to be dismissed. And there's other statutory language that's required. So, she definitely wants some assistance with a relocation case versus, doing this on her own, if at all possible.
She won't do it on her own, no.
Yeah, it is a highly technical area and it's statutorily driven. So it is important to get an attorney involved in these situations. Thank you, Ida. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. I saw Mr. Gould pop up for a second. Mr. Gould, did you have a question that you wanted to ask at this time?
Yeah, I think I'm number 2.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my question is an after the fact question. You might need to point me in the right direction. Maybe this isn't the right venue for it. But my question is about an Orange County judge that did not reimburse me the full amount of my expenses after I won a small claims case. And I wondered what I need to do about that. I have another follow-up question on that too.
So I don't think any of us here on the panel do small claims. This is for family law questions. So I'm not sure we would be the right people to answer that question. Is your second question related to family law?
It's more criminal law.
Again,
during that case, I discovered that a bank had committed fraud, and it even turned out to be something that was an attempted grand theft larceny for a safety deposit box. And the judge said I needed to file federal criminal charges on that.
right, that's because it's with a bank. So again, even though I practice criminal law, I still wouldn't be able to answer your federal question. But that's something that you would have to speak to a federal criminal attorney about.
Where do I do that? Because I ended up on the FBI tip site and it's a black hole.
You can contact the Orange County Bar Association and they can give you a referral.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about the judge part?
Same thing. We're not, there's plenty of attorneys that can answer that question. We're just not the ones for that because none of us practice in the civil arena. But if you can call 407-522-4551, and that's the Orange County Bar's phone number, you ask for the referral line and they will get you to the right attorney for your issues.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cami. Thank you, Mr. Gould. I think next up is Mark Feiner. Mr. Feiner?
I'm here.
What is your question, sir?
Yes, please. So I was divorced unexpectedly, and we did a simplified dissolution, Florida simplified dissolution of marriage, and in the property settlement, we split all our property 50-50. There was no stipulation for any ongoing payments to be made, and our children are adults in their late 30s. However, they are intellectually handicapped. And he's been asking me for money ever since the divorce to pay for their car insurance, and I've been paying it. But I don't believe it is legally necessary for me to continue. What would be my legal standing if I just stop making those payments? Like, does she have recourse?
Is that,
Cami, do you want to address that one? I'm sorry.
did you say Cami?
Cami can go ahead. Let Cami
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
head back.
I don't mind. I didn't, I just,
All
I didn't,
Cami's leave. Cami, go ahead.
I'm not sure I heard the beginning, but was that addressed in your divorce? Of
Well,
how,
Yeah, we were married for 37 years and our kids are both adults in their late 30s.
Right.
So in the divorce, she said there are no dependent children. And she gets payments, SSI payments and other federal payments for their support. So in the divorce settlement and the property settlement itself, it was declared no dependent children and there were no ongoing payments after this, split of the property.
So based on your divorce case, now I don't know anything about Social Security disability and parent
well,
obligations with that, but based on your
okay.
divorce case, you are not required to make those payments because it doesn't say it in your court order.
That's correct. Does she have any legal recourse if I refuse to stop making them because they are intellectually disabled, although being supported by SSI?
Again, in the family law divorce case, no.
Right.
In your disability case, because I don't practice in disability at all. I don't know if anybody else on the panel does. I don't know if there's any exposure there, but for your family law case, the answer is no. You have no exposure whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
Cami, can I add to that really quick?
Please.
I guess the one area of exposure might be if she tried to set aside that final judgment. When was the final judgment entered?
2018.
Okay. So, I mean, what Cami is saying is absolutely accurate. But what she could do if she spoke with another attorney is she might try to go back in after the fact and try to set it aside, and claim for some reason that things were not disclosed or, maybe documents she wasn't given, ample opportunity to review that. I mean, she could make some arguments and try to make things messy a little bit. Whether or not she would prevail on that would be up to a judge. But in terms of your actual exposure right now, no, but she could file some sort of motion to set aside that final judgment. Again, whether or not that would be sufficient with the allegations she would make would be up to the court.
Okay, but I was advised after 1 year, it's very rare to set aside the settlement and try to renegotiate.
So there's a rule that governs that. And I believe is it 1.540?
Yeah, 12.540. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's the rule that you would want to look at, and that governs how you could set aside that agreement. But again, it's all about the factors and it's all about the facts and it's all about how this agreement was entered and what was done behind the scenes. And so that would be your only exposure, if anything. So what Cami is saying is, within the agreement itself right now, no, you have no obligation. Could she make things messy down the road? Yes, but you know her better than anyone else to know if she is going to do something like that over something so small as payments for car insurance.
Is there a time limit though, after the divorce is finalized when she can still take action, or is there a limitation as to how long it has to be before she can't go back?
It's within the rule, 12.540. It's within the rule. It'll spell it out for you in the rule.
Yeah, there's certain exceptions. There's a 4-pronged thing. If you read the statute, it'll help you out.
That's the statute 12.450.
12.540.
But it's not a statute. It's
Not statute, it's the rules of civil procedure, family procedure. Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you.
We get them confused all the time. They seem like statutes.
But just a quick answer, since you're not an attorney, I mean, the quick answer is if there's fraud, there's really no statute of limitations on that. If it's not fraud, then it's that year that you were thinking about. So
are you saying fraud on my part or fraud on her part?
Well, she has to say that you did something fraudulent to set it aside after a year.
Right. And if she made a declaration to the judge that there is no dependent children, she's the one that made that declaration during the divorce proceeding.
Correct. But you can read that rule to get more specifics, but to just, I feel like we're kind of giving you the it depends answer, which is very common in divorce. I mean, that's kind of what it is. But in your situation right now, with the order that you have no exposure. She would have to act, like Lauren said, to do something in order to potentially try to give you some exposure. But as you sit right now, you're good.
And the last caveat on that, if she does try to go back and reopen or reevaluate, that will require full financial disclosure on both parties' parts so that they would see that she's making like 5 times more than I'm making? I mean, would that be part of the reopening of the settlement?
Well, they would ask for financial disclosure, but I'm not sure that how much more she's making is relevant to what her reasons to set aside would be.
Okay, very good. And may I ask one more, please, while we're here? It has to do with post-divorce. If you get a new like spouse or life partner, that you do a spiritual ceremony, but not a civil ceremony. So it's not probably recognized by Orange County, but you live with this person. If they pass on, what standing do I have to keep living in the house that she owns?
Damon, you want to answer that?
I'm not sure. A civil service is, I mean, a religious service is not necessarily the same as if you have the marriage certificate as well.
Right, we don't have that, but I live with her. And is there any standing to keep living in this house should she pass on?
The common law got abolished, help me out, guys, 1956 or something. You'll forgive my ignorance. I knew that factor 25 years ago for the bar exam. I don't remember it now. Something about 1956, 59, something like that rings a bell, but that's been abolished. So hopefully.
So the answer is I have no standing to continue living in her house after she passes on, based on.
There's some things for estate planning that you could do, but that would be a whole nother
different area
for that.
Okay,
And
thank
really,
you very much.
Really what you're looking at too, just so you know, is, you're delving into landlord tenant land. And so if you're looking to kind of protect yourself in that arena, you might want to consider a lease or something like that, but that's outside of our realm.
Okay.
Thank
you so much. I was hoping to leave feeling secure she can't get me for more money after the final settlement, but the "it depends" answer is a little.
Welcome to the law.
Yeah. That's why we have jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Feiner. Next up was Skylar Hart. Ms. Hart.
So Ms. Hart will be typing in her question, but I'm going to read out her question out loud. So this is from Skylar. My mom lives in Washington State and I live here in Orange County, Florida. We are trying to appeal a guardianship that my mom has appointed as my legal guardian out of state in Washington State. How can we go about doing that?
So that's a probate question. I'm not sure I can answer that. Lauren or Damon, do you have any probate experience?
Zero.
Okay, so that's
I have associates that do, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, if we're not. Oh, Russell, how about you?
I do not have any probate experience, unfortunately. I try and stick in my wheelhouse here.
So that's one of the things that you could go to the self-help center. No, you cannot, but you could call the Orange County Bar for a referral at 407-422-4551.
And those referrals are wonderful, folks. I mean, I can't recommend that enough.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
She has a guardianship question.
Oh, okay.
And they're not all in Florida.
So next up we had was Joan Simpson. Ms. Simpson, did you have a question as well?
Oh, we skipped Diana. Diana is next.
Oh, I thought that was the probate question.
Oh no, Skylar's was the probate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Diana?
Diana, I'm sorry, we did skip you. Diana, you're next.
Okay, thank you. I'm not, this is totally different question. I maybe, possibly maybe a referral regarding once a person is Baker Act. My daughter got Baker Acted there in Florida, and I'm not familiar with it. And as a consequence of her being Baker Acted, there was a CPS, Child Protection Agency came, and it turned out, she suffers from depression and she had a reaction to a new medication, and herself was feeling so bad that she called the police, and he took it upon himself to Baker Act. And I told them, he asked me, is she a threat to you? No, she's not a threat to me. And then, I told him, do not take her. And then he says, I feel she has to go because, she was crying and she was really depressed and everything. Now, I was there with her. We were driving. This is after she got released and everything. And she just happened to go 10 miles over the speed limit. We were not aware. The cop stopped her and tells her, "Oh, you have you have been Baker acting. You have a child protective case." Very judgmental to my daughter, and my daughter's trying her best now. She's thank God her medication was changed, and now she's telling me, "Ma, I don't know. Like she wants to try to go see if she could." Get a job, and I don't know. In Florida, being Baker acted, is this held against you in terms of seeking a job? And child protective came and no problem at all. They saw the children, they went to the school and everything. There was no need to do any intervention. The children are, her whole she's a very excellent mother, and the children are very well taken care of, so that has not been a problem. But this Baker Act that that happened, we don't know, do we need to see a lawyer? How does this stays in the record? How does she move forward to get, to get a job and all this when that's, the first thing that the cop told her in such a judgmental way?
Russell, do you want me to take this one? So,
Sure.
So I think
Thank
what your question is, who gets to see the records of a Baker Act?
Yes.
Or an involuntary act. And so typically those records are confidential. So the police will have access to those records sometimes within their systems. But new potential employers, they typically do not see those on someone's background because they are confidential. Now, I don't believe that the case record would show up on any sort of background check. But if there was some sort of, traffic violation or something like that, that would show up probably on a background check if an employer is doing something like that. But typically they're confidential and they would not have access to them. Cammie, is that your understanding? And Damon, is that your understanding?
The only other person that would have access to him is if your daughter committed a crime. The state attorney's office would have access to that as well, but I'm not aware of any employers having access to that.
Well, that's what I thought. I recently retired. I work in the healthcare field, and I was shocked. Like I told my daughter, I thought that's very confidential. That's not supposed to be in this day and age. It should not be held against you. Any type of mental illness that, you see this in TV all the time. But the way that officer, you're being Baker acted, like in such a, immediately, was that necessary for him to immediately, be so judgmental?
That might have been poor judgment on the officer in terms of, what they said and maybe how they said it. But that's something that you would probably just want to take up with the particular police department and just talk to them about, hey, it would be really nice if your officers and going out in the field, if maybe they're a little bit more sensitive to that, because this was the incident that happened and this is what happened. Sharing your thoughts with them certainly couldn't hurt. But typically that would be your forum to do that, would be to speak with the particular police department and speak with their superior.
Thank you, Diana. We're going to move on now now we'll go to Joan. Joan Simpson, are you still here?
It's Joan.
Joan,
I see them on the screen.
I do.
Yes.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can. Thank you, Joan.
Hi. Thank you so very much. I live in the state of Indiana. I have 3 grandchildren in Orange County, Florida, who are in the foster care system. I received a phone call June 14th, 2019, asking me would I take them. I told them immediately I would. I sent all of my information via a text message. The gentleman told me that he said, by you being out of state, he said it takes 6 months to even get it started. I have absolutely had no knowledge of foster care or anything, never been involved in it. So I took him at his word. 5 months later, I'm not hearing anything, letters, nothing. So I started reaching out back to the last phone number. I'm trying to talk fast because I'm trying to get a lot in. I started reaching back out to the last phone number, text messages. Finally, I did get a phone call back stating that, asking me, was I interested in the children? Of course I am. So that was like in November of 2019, December, February, they did send it through to Indiana for ICPC placement. My mother and I, we live together in our home. My mother turns 96. She, of course, you know, at 96, she can't jump and skip, but she's not an invalid. So I do quite a bit for her in the home. Our income is combined. At that time, they came out, they assessed the house, we did the background checks, everything went through just fine. When it came after, I just totally rearranged the house, made the rooms available for the one boy, for the two girls. Then Indiana and Florida got in a dispute about who was going to pay money. And in between that time, my grandchildren have been separated into 3 separate foster homes. The lady that originally had them, which is their adopted aunt, decided that the girls were too much. She told the caseworker that she was going to put her on the fire department steps if they didn't come and get her. So they had an emergency meeting. I found all of this out after the fact. I get a letter in the mail as though they don't know we exist, saying that we're trying to find the relatives of the 3 grandchildren. And I'm like, what do you mean you're trying to find them? You know where we're at. So that gave them enough time. The workers in Orange County, they placed the second grandchild. She got rid of the first one. Then they placed the second grandchild in another stranger's home. I've been fighting, trying to get my grandchildren. There is absolutely, I'm getting caught up between the 2 of them talking about who wants to pay what, should Florida pay? And then when the Orange County workers were in court, they didn't know I was on the court conference listening. They were telling the courts they didn't know where the children's relatives were. My son cannot get the children because his estranged wife, she has a drug problem. She alleged that he beat her up. So this is the reason why he can't get the children. They, okay, my mother's income and my income were combined. They're telling me now, well, Florida is waiting for Indiana to okay it. Indiana is saying, well, we can't do it because you don't have enough income. There is enough income in the house. It's that I am taking care of my mother and my family is paying me at this time to take care of her. We were scrapping at the last minute. So I'm caught up in between Indiana and Florida doing whatever they want to and thinking that I'm going to just go away. I'm not willing to just let my grandchildren be in 3 separate homes. One of the children are in therapy. It is a total nightmare. If I wasn't pushing up until this point, they would be gone in the wind, but I'm not going away. I'm trying to get the children in a loving environment.
It's always difficult dealing between states. Cammie, is there something you wanted to add as well?
Yeah, so I'm assuming what you're asking is, how do you get help? I mean, that's what I'm assuming.
Yes, that
And
is my
so
question.
really dependency court is probably the most difficult area of the law when it comes under the umbrella of family law. And so you need to hire an attorney.
I am willing to do that.
Yeah, that's what
I
you
just
need to
don't know
do.
who to hire.
Well, you can contact the Orange County Bar Association.
I did.
And they will give you a referral for an attorney that does dependency work. But all the things that you told me or just mentioned that happened are all things that should not happen and take that long. And if the proper attorney brought it to the judge's attention, because you have two great judges on the dependency bench right now, they would never allow that to happen and your grandchildren would be in your home. As long as
Okay.
your background check and your homestead and all that.
Oh, yes, everything turned out perfect. Yes,
You need to hire a lawyer who specializes or focuses and limits their practice to dependency. Most of us family lawyers do not do dependency work.
Okay, so you're saying, I did contact the Orange County, so they gave me an attorney and I reached out to her, but I never received a phone call back from that attorney. So what should I do? Go back again?
If you want, you can call one of us and we'll make sure.
I actually do dependency law.
Oh, there
I
you
practice
go.
in dependency, but you can call the Orange County Bar, and if you tell them of your problem that you had before, they'll make sure to send you somebody.
No, I'll call you. Do you want, how do I get your information?
I mean,
how do I get your information? Look you up?
I'll put my phone number for you in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson. Next up, we had Stephanie P.
Hi, can you guys hear me? All right.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My situation is that my divorce was finalized in 2020 October 12th, 2018. I was in a domestic violence relationship. He was cheating, give me, STDs and stuff because I had to get C-section to have my son taken out. So the judge gave us a sharing plan, for me and the son dad, with my son, because I was representing myself and everything. And after that, the sharing continued and they gave us, I have a restraining order against him and it was good for 2-3 years, I believe. They put his sister as the person that was going to be the one to bring my son home and take him, whenever we have the time sharing. But what happened is that me and the sister end up, she ended up not really getting along with me, being rude, disrespectful, calling me out my names. His family are mad at me because I put a restraining order, say, oh, you have a child with someone and you can't even see him. It was just toxic. The environment was just toxic. And I made the most, horrible decision ever. In September 2020, I've relocated to Ohio. And what happened, what I did, I tried to come here, get an apartment, get a car, get a job, find a school for my son, try to get everything settled. And my son was with my mom getting, the sharing was still continuing. They didn't know that I relocated. But I guess I told a friend who I trusted that I do not live in Florida anymore. I was planning on, to get my baby, but she ended up meeting my son dad at a party and told him that I'm not here. And then he ended up getting an attorney because I also filed in November 2020 in court to have the relocation. So, when he found out about everything, he got an attorney. So I've been going back and forth. I did not abandon my son. I even have, Cash App thing that I've been sending my mom money to buy food and everything for my son. So with the dad finding out that I'm trying to have my son move, he tried to make it seem like, he's the best dad. Don't get me wrong. He's a good dad. He might have been a horrible husband. In the beginning, he was, he said some horrible things about my son that he said if my son was not his, he was going to cut him up like a goat, put him in a black plastic bag and throw him away. And as a mom, that has stuck with me. But he has shown improvement that he's, being a good dad. He's married. He's a truck driver. He's barely in the state from, one. I've never took that upon him, even though we was doing the time sharing, I knew he was not around. And I never went to court, do nothing because, I'm a very peaceful person. I don't want no drama, no court situation. But, now that
What is your question?
I'm trying to have the judge give me a date to go to court because now the dad is a truck driver. My son is with his wife. I heard that they bought a house in Fort Myers. Even I was thinking about just giving up and just moving back. Even if I move back, it's still gonna be the same thing because he lives in Fort Myers and my mom lives in Orlando, and I would move back to my mom. It
If your question, Stephanie, if your question is about getting a court date, you may want to try and contact the judicial assistant for the judge to find out what's going on with the case. Otherwise, you may want to try and talk to an attorney through the referral service, and they can give you more advice on specifically what you might need to do.
Yeah, I tried everything. Oh my God, this is the worst experience ever.
Contact the judicial assistant. They will absolutely help you out.
The judicial assistant, which is like the judge assistant.
Yes. Which county are you in? Which county is this case in?
Orange County. The judge is Keith F. White, and I contacted the assistant.
I can give you her phone number right now. It's 407.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me type it in. Yes, go ahead.
407-836-0477.
477. All right.
Her name is Lizandra Montero.
All right, Lizandra Montero. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lauren. We'll try and get in a couple more here. I know we're running out of time. Is Arok Ayala?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, Mr. Cruz.
Yes, I'm asking the questions for my grandmother because right now I'm at work. But the thing is that my grandma wants guardianship over my little brother.
We cannot hear you. We cannot hear your question. We have to move on to the next question.
Can you hear me now?
Now that you turn the radio off, yeah, I think we can hear you.
Okay, because my grandma, she wants guardianship for my little brother because my mom passed away in January. It's fairly recent.
So I'm sorry for the loss of your mother, and we're kind of short for time, but just as a reminder, we're a family law panel, and that's guardianship in probate court. And we've already addressed that none of us do that. So we're not going to be able to answer your question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we had William P.
Yes, sir. How you doing? You can hear me?
We can. Thank you, sir.
I'll be right to the point since I've been listening to the other callers. I just recently retired out of the military. I got the divorce in Mississippi, but since I was stationed here in Florida, the court in Mississippi let Florida rule on the child custody battle. I won 75% to 20% or 80%, 20%. Basically, she gets them every other weekend and a couple of weeks during the summer. I am now ready to move on and start a new career and back in the state of Mississippi. What do I need to do to take the child, my son, our son, to Mississippi when we move?
Is she in Mississippi?
Negative. She's here in Orlando.
I think Damon was going to answer.
Same answer as we had earlier before. We're going to refer you, just so you guys know that the relocation statute, excuse me, the is 61.13001. It is a Florida statute. I keep getting confused on rules and civil. Thank you, Cami, for clearing.
It is at the end of the day, Damon.
I'm actually in the middle of a mediation. I'm going back at 7 to go back into that. But
so with that, if I was to take him out of the state and move, I could be arrested.
I wouldn't go that far necessarily, but you would probably be brought back pretty quickly.
Okay, because the other thing is that she's, like you said, she's not paying child support, or she does. It's only $34 a month. And I heard your one of the last callers saying that if they don't pay on time, that looks good in your favor and so on. And I'm trying to offer our son a house in his own bedroom to where at her place, where I have no idea where she lives. She refused to give me the address. So I don't even know how to serve her. Can I still go to court when I don't know how to serve her?
there's process there. Well, I'll let you guys, I'm sorry, I keep interviewing.
No, you do it, Jamin, go
do it.
ahead.
You're good.
There's processes by which you can do, which you can serve by publication potentially, depending on where she last resided and things of that nature. There are
Okay.
Definitely speak with an attorney before you move. You want to speak with an attorney and really kind of flesh it out with them and spend a lot of time on that with them. Call the referral service, speak with an attorney for 30 minutes at least, and get all of your questions answered. They'll walk you through it.
And also,
Okay,
please speak with a lawyer also before you do any kind of publication. I have a client right now who just hired me after they filed the publication, but they didn't do the process right with the court, and we had to start it all over again. So definitely speak with a lawyer before you do something of that nature.
And just the last part of my question is, in the child custody, I won for attorney fees to be paid, and the judge said that the attorney she had was incompetent, and it caused us to spend a lot of extra money. So I'm having a hard time collecting from her attorney. I guess basically under Florida statute, if the attorney's incompetent, she has to suffer too and pay 50%, and the attorney pays 50%. How do I get, or what do I need to do to file a complaint against the Bar Association for attorney to pay the attorney fees? He's refusing to pay.
Well, the bar doesn't get involved with fee disputes at all, so they wouldn't take that. But that sounds a little
more of an enforcement issue, right, Cammie? Like,
yeah,
we need to enforce the order. There was probably an order on sanctions. What you're talking about is
sanctions.
statute.
That's the word I was thinking of. Sanctions.
It's a 57-105, most likely that was filed, and then you were awarded fees, or the court reserved on fees. So what you'd want to do is find out, and look at that order and see what it said, and then just file a motion with the court and try to enforce that. And that would be your way to get the attorney to pay attention to you.
Okay, and I can do that at the self-help and pay the $1 a minute type of thing?
Most likely, yes.
That's a Roberta question. I guess apparently there's some things that they do and some things they don't. I don't know if Roberta's still on the call.
Okay. All right.
I'm still on the call. What was the question again?
Do they do enforcement actions at the self-help if he was ordered attorney's fees or granted attorney's fees and the attorney's not paying?
If it is a family law case, so if it is a domestic case, yes, he can come to the self-help center.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Roberta.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, sir. We'll try and squeeze in one last question. Is there a lifeline on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. What's your question, sir?
Yes, sir. This is pertaining to father's rights when it's dealing with out of wedlock, and basically the practice and procedures that are taking place as far as a non-custodial parent. It's a lot of different avenues in which you have to take to get any kind of answers when you want this particular dispute so it resolved between the child and the mother of the child. And the father wants to contribute to the child, but the father may have other, he's maybe not doing as good as anticipated as far as like the fees and stuff like that. But my key question is that what program, policy, or practice actually substitutes for a parent? Because if a father is not able to contribute to his child, and which he's obligated to do, and that is also entails love and nurturing the child as well. And what authority gives the department that's ruling on child support, a 4D agency, to take the father's driver's license and his professional license in order to contribute, because they also want us to pay the fine, and at the same time as them taking every tool that the father actually needs to pay that debt or the obligation that is ordered upon him. So I'm trying to figure out,
Do you want me to take this?
Yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
Okay, so Lifeline, I think what you're asking is a two-part question. I think you're asking, you know, number one, what role does the Department of Revenue have in a father trying to establish his rights as a parent? And number two, how do you go about possibly being more involved in the child's life, i.e., you know, gaining some sort of time sharing with the child? Is that what I hear you asking?
That is one. Yes, that is one side of it. And
Okay.
I'm listening.
So then I heard your question as well about or what I believe your question to be in terms of, you know, if the Department of Revenue takes away your driver's license, how are you able to earn money to then pay for support for the child? Those are very
license.
Yeah, those are very, very common questions. And what I can tell you is that the Department of Revenue wants to see a parent pay child support, or at least try to pay child support, so that they do not impact your license, your driver's license, or take away your ability to earn money. The way that you would, if you're ever finding yourself in a situation where you lost your job, you're not able to pay child support, you need to let them know that you are gainfully trying to find employment and make, even if it seems ridiculous, make payments of $10 here, $20 there that you can prove to the mother to show that you're at least trying to pay something. It doesn't matter if it's the full amount that is owed, you're showing that you're making an attempt, okay? So that's number one. In those situations, and not in all of them, but in those situations, typically, they will not yank your driver's license if you show that you're trying to make those good faith attempts to pay support, okay? In some situations, when you pay nothing, because a lot of people think I'm not able to pay the full amount, this looks ridiculous, I'm not going to go down there and pay $10. You should go down and pay $10 if you can do it. That's what you should be doing. That's really what they're looking for. The other thing too is if you're looking for time sharing, Department of Revenue does not handle time sharing, what they call time sharing with the child. The way that you're going to get time sharing with the child is if you file a petition to establish paternity in the county where the mom and the child reside. That's the way that you're going to get time sharing, because DOR will not order it. They'll order you to pay child support, but they're not going to order you to see the child. I hope that answers your question.
Well, yes, it does. I didn't mean to throw the custody part in there, because I do know that the Department of Revenue does not entertain that. But the most valuable part of it is that even in the process and the procedures that have taken place, and when the department has initiated to withdraw from, or even filed it to terminate child support, and I don't even know if they even have the authority to do so, but after they've already filed it under what is that, Rule 12.491 under Judicial Administrative Order 2.215, it says that, you know, once they have filed an order for termination, that is no longer a 4D case. What exactly does that mean?
They're talking about titles, and they're talking about, you know, which title is applicable, and are they going to offer services? Are they going to continue to monitor the case for the Department of Revenue for enforcement purposes? So they're talking about the titles. It's Title IV. So if you're asking, you know, why they might file a notice of termination of Title IV services, what they're basically saying is that they are not going to continue to monitor this case. They're not going to actively do something for whoever the petitioner is. They're done. That's what that means.
So this is what's mainly transpired. They, in 2018, they put in an order for a trial, and at that trial, the department had decided not to move forward, so they dismissed that case. It was dismissed for about 1 year and 3 months. The hearing officer on his own had filed lack of prosecution and to show a cause of action. At that particular hearing, the hearing officer did not move forward. He didn't take no action. In other words, they didn't provide any reason why they should move forward. They didn't provide any other information. and supposedly was supposed to put in for a trial.
Sir, I have a question. Is your question that it got dismissed and then they brought it back? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. My question is how is it?
Anything dealing with a child is always modifiable and can always be brought back up. So
But the hearing officer denies it. He didn't. It's like a game. It's very difficult when you're talking to two different departments, and neither one knows what the other is doing, but they're governing your family. So it's
Lifeline.
Yes,
I'm going to give you a phone number to call. It's Tangel Rodriguez. You need to speak with one of the attorneys that was on the DOR case over there. And there's usually 3 or 4 attorneys that they have, and that's it. Do you have a pen available?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's 407.
Yes, ma'am.
849-1133. And what you'll do is you'll tell them your name, and you will ask for the attorney assigned to your case. You will get that attorney's name, okay? And usually they will take your call or schedule one with you to talk about the case and go over any questions you might have.
Okay. All right.
All right, well, thank you very much. That's all the time we're going to have for today. I want to remind everyone you can contact the Orange County Bar Association's lawyer referral and information service to be referred to an attorney for a free 30-minute consultation. You may be charged for speaking with an attorney beyond the initial consultation, but if you have additional questions that we weren't able to get to tonight, please contact the lawyer referral service.
All right, and to end this session, I do want to thank all of our attorneys, all of our speakers and moderators. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Orange County Bar Association. We really appreciate your time in providing this service to the community. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm sorry that we didn't get to everyone's questions, but we do have some really helpful resources for you. I will be sending everyone a follow-up email with that information. Feel free to contact us and let us know what your questions. And so that ends our session for today. I want to thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your night.
Ms. Lauren, what was the name of the person that I need to be